Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker. You are listening to episode 316, and that's the bottom line. Today is Monday, June 5th. Day late again. Apologies for no episode on Sunday and no episode last week. So double apologies. I'll refund you half your money that you paid to listen to this. All right. I'll refund you double your money, whatever you're paying to listen to this. In any case, here we are. It's June. Summer's here, pretty much. School's out in Florida. I know the rest of the country's going to go till the end of June probably, but, we decided to pack it up early here. No show yesterday because I was in Orlando. And I know I told you guys that I was done with Disney. If you've listened to the last few weeks, you know that the family and I took a last hurrah trip to Disney. And then my parents came to visit, and they babysat our daughter. And then the wife and I went to Epcot and drank beer and went on roller coasters. And we said, that's it. Annual passes are expiring. We're letting them go. So we went back to Epcot on Sunday. Technically, our passes expire on June 7th. So we may even go back again before they expire. Now, the tricky thing about it was our daughter's pass expired last month. Since we had to purchase hers like after she turned 3, I think. It just didn't line up with ours for whatever reason. So we weren't going to go back because her pass was expired. But then her buddy from school and, we're friendly with the family. They were going to go. So we said, oh, what the heck? We still have our annual passes. We bought her a day pass, our daughter, and it was $9,000. And we went and had a good time. So that was for real the last one. I swear, guys. I'm just like an addict. Like you can't believe me. I'm gonna end up back at Disney World somehow, some way. No, but after this Tuesday, the passes will be done. Had a nice little day at Epcot. Did some rides, and kids had a blast. So it was a nice day. Good weather. I wouldn't want to go in like late June or July or August anyway, because it's going to be so brutally hot and just so many people, just really uncomfortable. No thanks. Before we get into the fights, I'll tell you guys also Saturday night, we went to the movies. I took my daughter to see the new Little Mermaid, which there were mixed feelings in our group about it. My daughter loved it, which is the most important thing. She was like singing and dancing in the theater. My wife also enjoyed it. I thought the movie was good. I thought it was well done. I thought the actress who played Ariel had like by far the strongest voice. The rest of the music for me like kind of fell a little short. I don't know. I'm not like a movie critic or anything, but I just feel like some of the singing in the original movie had a little more punch to it. The other thing I didn't like about this movie is that it was 2 hours and 15 minutes long. It's like, come on, this is for kids. Like 90 minutes, wrap it up, Disney. Like you can get to the point in 90 minutes, I think. It felt like a little, like they were dragging it out a little bit. Like they were trying to explain things a little bit more. It's like you don't really need to explain it. She's a mermaid. She wants to be a person. The witch makes her a person. The dad gets mad. The crab helps her. And they cut out the scene from the original where the chef is chasing the crab around the kitchen with the big chef's knife, the big butcher's knife. I was wondering how they were gonna do that, and they decided to just not. Um, unless that scene was when I had to get up like one of the 4 times to go get snacks for the family. There's another $9,000 I didn't need. But yeah, like overall, I liked it because my daughter liked it. So that's all that's important. I would just say in the future, Disney, let's try to keep it to 90 minutes, please. Like not just for the kids' attention span, but for the parents who have to, you know, go and see all these movies. Um, It'd be nice because then, they do a half hour of previews now. So now you're in you're in the movie theater for damn near 3 hours. It's too long. It's too long. But other than that, it was good. They did a nice job with it. I thought the underwater CGI was a little funky, like, and I get it's probably like really difficult to do stuff like that. Like, how do you make somebody look underwater when they're not? Um, but it's like you could clearly tell they're like kind of forcing their hair to move around and stuff. Um, but whatever. It was a cute movie. Um, so I guess we can move on. Um, Kiddo liked it, and that's that. So it gets 2 thumbs up from the 5-year-old, and that's the target audience, I think. Anyway, I know there's a lot of Disney adults out there um, that that are big fans over this stuff, but as long as the kids like it, right? Um, let's talk some fights. All right, so UFC Vegas 74. A lot of people up in arms about the decision in the main event. I'm not going to start there because how do we not talk about Jim fucking Miller? 23-second knockout over Jesse Butler. Jim Miller becomes the record holder for the most wins in UFC history. What a performance. I mean, this guy, here's a guy who his whole career had been a well-rounded fighter, just good everywhere. Then he started, all right, he was a submission guy for a while. He's just hitting everybody with submissions. Then he went through, the Lyme disease phase, and there was a lot of decisions that weren't going his way. It looked like, Jim's slipping a little bit. I'm talking like 2017, 2018, Jim Miller, somewhere in there. And then he gets the Lyme disease sorted out, comes back, still kind of hot and cold, catching some submissions. Then he starts knocking people out. So imagine if Jim Miller hadn't dealt with this Lyme disease thing. We're talking an even more legendary career. I mean, Jim Miller's a Hall of Famer. I don't want to hear any arguments about that. I know we had little debates last time. We were talking about Clay Guida just because he's been in the UFC so long. Jim Miller's in the Hall of Fame. If he's not in the UFC Hall of Fame, he's going to be in the MMA on the Rocks Hall of Fame. How about that? I'm inducting him right now. Right here, right now. Jim Miller, congratulations, sir. Welcome. You're the first inductee to the MMA on the Rocks Hall of Fame. But the guy has what? 40 UFC fights? 25 wins? Most in history? I think. Who did he pass? Was it Cowboy? I think it was Cowboy. But what a performance. And credit to Jesse Butler stepping in there with a legend like Jim Miller on just a few days' notice. But yeah, he was in over his head. It was experience that won this fight. So Jim read that Jesse was overextending on his punches a little bit. And he did the same thing twice, slipped and ripped. So he slipped the right hand, threw the straight left, or it was kind of like a hybrid, like a short overhand. Missed it the first time, or kind of glanced with it the first time, slipped again, and threw the same exact punch. This time had him up against the cage, put it right on the button, put Jesse Butler out. And it's like, hey, man, credit for stepping up on short notice, but welcome to the big show. I guess he had a good record going into this. Looks like he was on a 5-fight win streak. A decent amount of fights, but you're talking about a guy with all right, he's 12-5. I'm not going to attempt to do the math. What does he have? A quarter of the fights that Jim Miller has? So I don't know, man. Jim Miller's still going at it. I guess in August he's going to be 40. So, man, what a career. And just imagine if he hadn't dealt with the whole Lyme disease thing. Mark Fellows says that at this rate, Jim Miller's going to be headlining UFC 300. Yeah, so he wants to be the only fighter to fight at UFC 100, 200, and 300. Cool goal. I mean, he could definitely make it at this rate. Hell yeah, let him headline it. I'll buy the pay-per-view if Jim Miller's headlining UFC 300 for sure. And I love in the post-fight interview, Michael Bisping asked him, like, well, what else do you want to do? He's like, I want to get a Kimura. Like, how do you not love Jim Miller? I've probably mentioned on the show before, I've trained with Jamie Cruz, who gave Jim Miller his black belt. Never got to train with Jim. That would have been awesome if he just happened to be in the gym one day. Man, what are we doing with Jim Miller? Can we give him somebody ranked in his next fight? I imagine he's going to have one more before UFC 300. He said he wants to stay active. Who are we doing here? We doing RDA? Jim Miller and RDA? Legend versus legend? I like that fight. That would be fun. I don't know. Maybe we don't give him anybody ranked. Maybe we give him just like some more young kids to slaughter. I don't know, man, but so happy for Jim Miller. Been watching this guy fight forever. Let's see, when did he make his UFC debut? I'm going to take a look at his record here real quick. For those of you who aren't watching on YouTube or Facebook. All right, so UFC debut December 10th, 2008. Wow. What were you guys doing in 2008? Because Jim Miller was beating Matt Wyman in his UFC debut. UFC Fight Night 16, Fight for the Troops 1. Damn. Oh, wait. Sorry. There was one before that. I read this wrong. It was actually October 18th, 2008. That was UFC 89. UFC 89, he made his debut. 25 wins later, he's getting ready to fight at UFC 300. Are you kidding me? Shame on anyone who thinks Jim Miller shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care if he's never even come close to a title shot. The dude's just an absolute beast. 19 submissions. Come on. You got to love Jim Miller. All right. I hope he gets that Kimura. All right, let's talk about the main event here. A lot of people up in arms about this decision. I think the term robbery is something that gets thrown around quite a bit. I didn't like the judging here. But I don't think it was a robbery. And I'll explain what I mean about the judging. So Amir Albazi defeats Kai Kara France in a split decision in the main event. It was a close fight, guys. Let's be honest. I know a lot of people thought Kai Kara-France won. I felt like what I was hearing in the commentary and the fight I was watching were two different things. I really think, and no disrespect to Michael Bisping or Laura Sanko, I just think they were overselling how well Kai Kara-France was doing. And a lot of people were bringing up the stats and things like that. He had more significant strikes, but the stats are bullshit for a lot of reasons. One, the people judging the fight, don't have those stats in front of them. So it doesn't matter. You're looking at it after the fact. And second, like, what's a significant strike anyway? Like, anything that lands is significant. Like, it hurts to get punched and kick. That's significant. But he was missing a lot. And Albazi was the bigger fighter, and he was moving forward more of the time. Granted, he was getting countered a lot while he was moving forward. He was still pushing the pace, and that matters to judges. I thought it was a super close fight. I was not surprised. I was not surprised when Albazi got his hand raised. I'll be honest. I thought he was really pressing. I thought Kai Kara-France won 4 and 5. I thought Albazi won 2 and 3. And I think it came down to how you score round 1. Folks, we have Jeff the Animal Wilson in the comments here. Bill, I love the show and I love you. I love you too, buddy. Jeff also says, I had 3 rounds to the guy Kara-France lost to in this poor excuse for a main event. It's like, yeah, I could go back and watch this, but then I don't know. Jeff, you going to jump on the show? You want me to send you a link here? I'm going to send Jeff a link. Maybe we get him in here. Maybe we get a rare appearance from the animal. Jeff, I sent you a link. Jump on if you want. Yeah, I could go back and like watch this fight again and like really dive into how I would score it. But I don't want to watch this fight again. It was not an entertaining fight for me. Jeff says he's not gonna join because he's on the throne. He had Indian food for dinner. All right, that's a good reason. I don't think we want Jeff calling in from the John. So we'll pass on the animal this week. Good luck. I hope everything comes out okay. I also love how I'm in the middle of doing a podcast here, and for those who aren't watching on video, I know most of you are the audio crowd listening on your commute or whatever. I have on my screen Sherdog.com to see the results of the fights, and there's a giant ad for Florida residents. Save up to 30% at Disney Resort hotels. It's like I can't escape, guys. I'm just destined to be a Disney dad, like, for life. Like, it just follows me around. Something's gonna happen where I'm gonna win like a sweepstakes that I didn't even enter for, like, lifetime Disney tickets or something, and it's just gonna go on forever. Okay, so here's my problem with the scorecards. I don't have a problem with Albazi winning the split decision. I think the fight was that close. I think it comes down to how the first round was scored. Now, here's my problem. And I'm going to look at the scorecard right here. I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see because it's like a super small picture. Okay, let's see if I'll make it a little larger here. Guys, I'm not the most technically sound with this stuff. All right, so we have the 3 judges here. No, this is the wrong scorecard. See, I told you guys, I fucked it up. All right. So Chris Lee scored the fight for Albazi, and he gave him rounds 2, 3, and 4. This is the card I have the issue with. Sal D'Amato also scored it for Albazi. He gave Albazi rounds 1, 2, and 3. That one makes sense to me. Okay. Look, rounds 1 and 2 were close. You could give him either way, really. Kai Kara France did a lot of damage, I guess you could say, with the calf kicks. But if someone is watching this who has never been hit with a calf kick, it probably doesn't look like they're seeing much. So if you give the first round to Albazi, like, I get it. You know, he was the aggressor. If you give the second round to Albazi, I get that too. That round was super close. Third round, Albazi definitely won. That was the round where he was on Kai Kara France's back. 4 and 5, I thought were pretty clear for Kai Kara France. So 3, 4, and 5 were the only clear-cut rounds, in my opinion. So if you told me Albazi wins 1, 2, and 3, I'm fine with that. But the Chris Lee scorecard, where he gave Albazi 2, 3, and 4, that's a little wacky to me. So if he scored the first round correctly, we have a different winner. It all came down to how that round was scored. So it's weird because watching it, I thought it came down to how the first round was scored, and 2 of the 3 judges gave the first round to Kai Kara France. Okay. So it kind of comes down to Chris Lee kind of misscoring that fourth round. I don't know what he saw in that fourth round, and I'm not going to go back and watch this again to figure it out. But yeah, I think calling it a robbery is a little drastic. It was a close fight. It was a really close fight. You know, Albazi was the aggressor. Yeah, Kai was the cleaner striker, but you know, he was swinging at air a lot of times too during this fight. So, it sucks because the stakes were so high for this one. Albazi asking for a title fight, you know, after that performance, I don't think that's going to happen. So he was ranked 7th. Kai Kara France was ranked 3rd. I think the thing you do is Brandon Royval against Amir Albazi while we wait for Brandon Moreno and Alexandre Pantoja to figure it out. And if I'm Kai Kara France, I'm calling out Davison Figueiredo because I think that's his quickest route to get back in the mix. So let's do Figueiredo and Kara France, and let's do Brandon Royval against Albazi. You know, and then whenever it is that Brandon Moreno and Alexandre Pantoja are fighting, you know, then we'll have a clearer picture of the division. But yeah, overall, I feel like I spent more time talking about this main event than it was really worth. Co-main event, excellent. Alex Caceres against Daniel Pineda, back and forth. You know, just wild exchanges. Caceres working the body. Pineda had that one twister attempt that was really close. I think it was in the second round. Caceres needed a strong third round to win the fight, and he did it. So credit to him. He didn't call out Volkanovski, but he was just kind of like talking about him in the post-fight press conference. It's like, your first reaction is like, no, slow down, man. But then, you know, you kind of consider he's won, 8 of his last 9. The dude's been on a tear. Since the loss to Kron Gracie, he has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, 7 of his last 8. He's won. Only loss, unanimous decision, is Sadiq Yusuf. So if we look at the rankings here, he was ranked 15th. He beat Pineda, who's not ranked. So I don't know if he's even going to move up or down in this. Alex Caceres and Edson Barbosa would be a fun fight. I think Alex Caceres and Giga Chikadze is a fun fight as well. I wouldn't want to pair him up with any of these, like a Bryce Mitchell or a Mavzar Evloev. I would stay away from those guys. Alex Caceres and Josh Emmett would be a really fun fight too. Calvin Kattar. There's some fights for him up there. The path to Volkanovski is going to be a rocky one, though. It was a great performance. I think it was fight of the night. I don't know. Correct me on that. I didn't even look up who won the bonuses. I assume the main event was not the fight of the night. If it was, it should not have been. So, great win for Alex Caceres. Jeff the Animal Wilson says, your discussion of the main event was more entertaining than a main event on Saturday. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. Always good to hear from you, my friend. Then we got Jim Miller over Jesse Butler. Already talked about that one in depth. Tim Elliott getting the win over Victor Altamirano. Tim Elliott doing what Tim Elliott does. He put Altamirano on his back for most of the fight and beat him up. We all know Tim Elliott was going through some crazy shit leading up to this fight. I'll talk about it because he talked about it. So it's out in the public. So Tim Elliott got married. I forget who he even got married to. And he went to drive his daughter home or something on his wedding night. And while he was gone, his newly declared wife cheated on him with one of his best friends, his training partner. Man, that's shitty, man. That's so shitty. So he had to change gyms, do a training camp while he was, going through all this stuff. I guess he's got a young kid, and the kid had grown attached to the girl and was like looking for a mother figure. Just like, damn, horrible. Sounds like she spent more time on her back than Victor Altamirano. So that sucks. But I mean, it would have been better if he found out like she was doing this shit like before they got married. So he doesn't have to go through like the annulment process and everything like that. I assume he's going to do, or he's already done. But man, it's horrible. And then he was talking about it at a press conference, and he was saying like, for the most part, he's been getting like a lot of support from the MMA community. And he was surprised how many guys were coming forward and saying that the same thing had happened to them, that their wife cheated on them the night of their wedding. Like, it's hard for me to wrap my head around this one. Like, because, usually I've been to a fair amount of weddings. Usually the bride and groom are together for most of the night. You gotta be pretty damn sneaky to get away with cheating on somebody the night you marry them. So, oh man, these hoes ain't loyal. It is true. It's true. So disappointed. Man, but at least Tim Elliott got imagine he lost this fight after going through all this and then he gets cut or something. Like, oh man, my stomach would sink just thinking about that happening to him. Luckily he came away with the win. So good for him. Here's something else I want to talk about with this next fight. And I'm going to try and pull up a picture for you guys. I'm talking about Karine Silva against Ketlen Souza. It was a submission in the first round, minute 45 seconds. And I'm going to try and pull up the picture for you guys. I got to stop sharing that. And here we go. All right. So here's the picture. I'm going to try and make it a little larger. So they're calling this. Wait, I deleted me. I have to be in still showing. I have to show my face here. All right. So for those of you on audio only, I apologize, but I got to talk through the visual on this one because here's my issue. So Karine Silva submits Ketlen Souza in the first round with a straight ankle lock, and you can see it's clearly a straight ankle lock. She's got her forearm underneath the ankle, like right on the Achilles. And what happened was Souza turned to the side and she was trying to pry Silva's legs apart to release the pressure on the leg lock. And as she turned, her knee popped. It looked like the kneecap got dislocated. So when they announced the winner of the fight, and it still says this in the results, they announced Karine Silva winner by submission due to a knee bar. And I'm watching, I'm like, where did they get that it's a knee bar from? The knee is what was injured, but a knee bar is not the submission that took place. So it's clearly a straight ankle lock. Anybody with more than 6 months of jiu-jitsu can look at this and say, oh, that's a straight ankle lock. Maybe a little more. All right, maybe a little more. 8 months of jiu-jitsu. You can see that's a straight ankle lock. It was tight. It was nasty. Usually this submission does not affect the knee. It's just kind of straight pain on the Achilles tendon, and pressure on the ankle. If you've ever rolled with somebody that has a really good ankle lock, you know, it feels like your ankle's going to explode. It's not a comfortable feeling. But because their legs were tangled up and because Souza was kind of twisting her body and Silva just had so much torque on this ankle lock, her knee just popped. I assume it was a dislocated kneecap. You can kind of see in this picture. I know it's a little blurry. This was the best picture I could get. Sorry, guys. I don't know if I could even blow it up anymore for you. No, I I went to enlarge the image and it shrunk on the YouTube. This is why I'm not good with this shit. You guys want like the fancy bells and whistles? You go watch the MMA holes. They have a whole production thing. They're really good at this stuff. I, however, am not. I need a producer who can handle all this stuff and pull up the pictures for me and put up the fights. So if anybody knows somebody that wants to be an intern for MMA on the Rocks, I'm open to it. And then I just removed myself from the whole stream somehow. So this is going great. All right, guys. So Karine Silva, winner by straight ankle lock, not by knee bar. I just want to clarify that. That kind of drove me nuts a little bit. And we had Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos getting the split decision over Abubakar Nurmagomedov. I thought the judges got this one right. I thought Nurmagomedov won the first round. He almost knocked him out in the opening exchange. But then Dos Santos just like kept putting the pressure on Nurmagomedov. And for a guy with the last name Nurmagomedov, he was having a hard time finishing the takedowns, fully locked body locks, and he could not get Dos Santos down. Dos Santos had awesome takedown defense. He was doing a great job in the clinch, landing those knees right up the middle to the body of Nurmagomedov, tiring him out. I think this is just a case of Nurmagomedov is possibly one of these guys who's used to being so dominant in the gym that if he's not able to get somebody out of there, like he seemed kind of deflated after that first exchange didn't finish Dos Santos. You know, it just seemed like it took the wind out of his sails. And there's got to be a lot of pressure on this guy having that last name. He's Khabib's cousin. Um, he's not undefeated. He's not in there just like mauling guys. But from what I hear in the gym, the guy's like an absolute killer. So maybe it's like the pressure and being under the bright lights and facing a little adversity. But credit to Dos Santos too. I mean, he had a great game plan, kept the fight on the feet. He even shot for a couple of takedowns though, trying to mix things up, keep Nurmagomedov guessing. So that was awesome. Awesome performance. It was a good fight. I'll jump around a little bit here. Don'Tale Mayes getting a TKO over Andrei Arlovsky. What are you gonna do, man? It's heavyweights. Arlovsky's been around a long time. He's looked great lately. But couldn't do it. Don'Tale Mayes, it's heavyweight. Any big shot is gonna be meaningful. Like anybody could knock anybody out in that division. That's kind of like the excitement of the heavyweights. It's like the opposite of the flyweights. What else? Muhammadjan Naimov with the second round TKO over Jamie Mullarkey. Good job by Herb Dean in that one because Jamie Mullarkey was like out, and then when he woke up, he was like mad that the fight got stopped. But yeah, I think that was a good stoppage there. I didn't catch a whole lot of the prelims, so if there's anything else I need to go back and watch, please let me know. Let's see. How are we doing on time here? I have no idea because I can't see my clock. What is going on today, folks? All right, 37 minutes. Okay. There we go. I got the clock back. All right, we're in good shape. I don't know what happened here. We're having technical difficulties. I would fire my producer, but it's me. So I can't fire me. All right. Let's go back to this. Let's take a look at next week. All right. UFC 289, Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. And this is for the Bantamweight Championship, which I don't know. Is featherweight even a thing anymore with the females? So Aldana won 2 of her last 3. Had that nasty body kick knockout of Macy Chiasson in her last fight. And before that, she knocked out Yana Santos. She's a problem, man. She's got big power. She's long for this division. And it's really going to depend on, what Amanda Nunes shows up. It's, I mean, if it's the absolute killer that just mauled Juliana Pena in her last fight, then, Aldana might be in some trouble here. But if it's the, I don't need to train that hard because I'm the champ, Amanda Nunes that fought Juliana Pena the first time, then I would be concerned for Amanda Nunes here because Aldana is a killer. She'll find Amanda's chin. I don't know. I don't know that she'll knock her out, but she could bang her up pretty good. Man, Aldana's got a chance to knock her out, even if Amanda Nunes shows up and takes it serious. I feel like this should be a bigger fight. I feel like it could be built up a little bit more. I haven't heard too much hype on the UFC side. You have their double champion right now, champion of 2 divisions, lesbian, fighting during Pride Month, headlining a pay-per-view. Like, this should be a big deal. This is a good story. But it seems to be a little lackluster, and I'm not quite sure why. And then, you know, what do you do with Amanda Nunes if she loses? Like, are we still gonna have a featherweight division? I don't even know the last time a female featherweight fight has taken place. Has there even been one? Let's look. Let me look here. Look at the rankings. Let's see. Women's featherweight. All right, so this kind of says it all here. The women's featherweight rankings on the UFC website has Amanda Nunes as the champion and nobody under her. So this is kind of telling. Like, if Amanda Nunes retires, are they just retiring this division? Have they retired this division already? You guys can go look at this yourselves if you want. This is right on the UFC website, UFC.com/rankings. All the way at the bottom, we got the women's bantamweights, top 15, and women's featherweight, Amanda Nunes, and nobody else. So I guess that's that, guys. I guess there's no more featherweights. So it was fun while it lasted, I guess. All right. Co-main event, Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush. Clearly this should be a title eliminator. Dariush, like, what else does this guy have to do? He's got how many in a row here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights in a row. Hasn't lost since March 2018. And now it's just kind of like, got caught with a big punch in the first round. The guy's been on a tear, coming off a win over Mateusz Gamrot, beat Tony Ferguson, Diego Ferreira, Scott Holtzman, Drakkar Klose, Frank Camacho, Drew Dober, submitted Drew Dober, and Thiago Moises. Here's another situation of, like, which Charles Oliveira are we going to get? Are we going to get the Charles Oliveira that beat the shit out of Justin Gaethje and was on that long winning streak? And I feel like a lot of people, because Charles lost to Islam in 2 rounds, a lot of people kind of counting him out because Beneil's been on such a hot streak. But you got to remember, before losing the title, Charles Oliveira beat Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson, Kevin Lee, Jared Gordon, Nick Lentz, David Tamer, Jim Miller, Christos Giagos, and Clay Guida all in a row. I mean, damn. These are 2 impressive records going at it. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you to do with your money here. I think that Charles Oliveira is an underdog here. It seems like Dariush is a betting favorite. If it's big underdog money, I would probably throw some cash on Charles Oliveira here, but don't come to me for your betting advice. Don't blame me if you lose your money. I'm not that guy. Go listen to Dan Tom or Brian Petrie or the gambling guys that know how to do all the numbers and the hedging and the fucking parlays. I don't even know what a parlay is besides, like, what I learned watching Pirates of the Caribbean. That's just like when you have to go speak to the captain. What else we got here? Dan Ige and Nate Landwehr. This is going to be a really fun fight. On paper, Dan Ige is better everywhere, but Nate Landwehr is just a car accident. And, not everybody survives a car accident. So anything can happen in this fight. Like, technically, Dan Ige is a lot better, but, you get into enough car accidents, you're going to get hurt. So we'll see what happens with this one. Marc-Andre Barriault and Eric Anders. That's a fun fight. 2 big middleweights. We got Chris Curtis fighting again. This guy fights like every other week. What is going on with Chris Curtis? This guy's an animal. When was the last time he fought? Just fought Kelvin Gastelum in April. It's the beginning of June. And then he fought Joaquin Buckley in December. So it's like, this guy's staying active, man. I like it. And he's fighting Nasruddin Imavov. That's a fun fight. Khalil Roundtree getting in there with the ever elusive unknown fighter. Don't know what's going on there. So I guess we'll see if they get a replacement opponent for Khalil. Miranda Maverick and Jasmine Jasudavicius. That should be fun. And yeah, some other interesting fights on here. Good little card. Aside from Amanda Nunes, there's not a whole lot of name value here to kind of like draw in the casual fans, you know. I know Charles Oliveira has a big following, but pay-per-view sales not going to be looking great for this one. I expect. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anything else? Did you guys see this crazy fight in Poland? I think it was. It was an MMA fight in Poland. This professional boxer made his MMA debut. And knocked out his opponent from bottom mount. So his opponent had him mounted, and this guy had so much punching power, he just reaches up and knocks the guy out who had him mounted. I'm trying and find the names of these people for you. MMA knockout from mount. Yeah. Extremely rare KO from bottom mount at KSW Coliseum 2. Yeah, so this was in Poland. Oh, of course, the link I pulled up was TikTok. I barely know what a TikTok is. In any case, you guys can find it if you want, but it kind of goes against like everything you learn in self-defense. You learn like if you can get to the mount, you're like pretty safe because you can punch your opponent and they can't punch you. You learn this in self-defense jiu-jitsu 101. It's like, and even if they can punch you, it's like gravity's on your side. They can't generate any power. And here comes this guy. Let's see, what's his name? I feel like I should find out his name now that I'm telling you guys about it. Yeah, can't find his name. Sorry, guys. You would think by now I would know how to do my research for this stuff, but look it up. You won't be disappointed. It was a fun little knockout. So I'm gonna be watching UFC 289 next week. I'm gonna be wondering if Amanda Nunes is thinking about retiring, win or lose. Does that mean the end of the featherweight division? We'll find out next week. Same Rocks time, same Rocks channel. Well, maybe not the same time. Maybe I'll actually get back on doing shows on Sundays again. It's a lot easier for me, I'll tell you that much. Mondays are tough. Like come home from the gym and then get the kiddo to bed and then do the show and then got to get up for work. So, but here we are. Hope we all had a good time. Thanks for everybody sticking it out till the end. If you want to grab some MMA on the Rocks merchandise, reaper1.co is the website. If you want to grab a t-shirt, tank top, or hoodie, I don't expect a lot of hoodie sales in the coming weeks. You can use the promo code MMA Rocks 10, save yourself 10% off your entire order. Whether you are buying my merchandise or not, you can still use the promo code. I'll let you. That's all I got for this week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the shares, all the comments, all the feedback, all the criticism. Until next time, cheers, everybody. Goodbye.